Hey guys, it's me, your favorite comic book artist's favorite comic book artist, John Anthony Chihawk Soltero, but you can call me Jax. Fresh from the Tucson toy show. I had a good haul. Very, very small considering what I've done in the past, but this one was all about not just vending, but like promoting my work, right? It went really well. I am definitely. I mean, it can always go better. It's not one of those things where I'm like, this is the tops. But my artwork and my work sold really, really well for it being spotlighted for the first time at the Tucson Toy Show. Made more than table with just my artwork and my prints and things. The kaiju prints went over really, really well. Debuted the anti-ice prints with the Gamera and Erica Slaughter Monster Hunter pieces. Did not sell any of those, but people were looking at them. Some people were looking at them with a side eye and a stink eye, and now we know who some of those people are, and that's also part of this. I'm not going to shy away from this conversation anymore. I'm not going to not say something because I'm worried it might affect business in one way, shape, or form. Don't want your money, don't need your money. Not willing to sell out myself for your money is another thing. So going to show you my haul really, really quick. This isn't technically part of my haul. However, my buddy Richard had a short box and some toys and comics and stuff of things available. And this was something he picked up last year, and then he picked up a higher grade copy of this same book. And I asked him what he was going to do with lower grade copy, and he said he wasn't sure yet. And then once I asked him if he wanted to have a box at the table and sell some books, maybe get rid of some inventory he didn't need, this was something that he offered to me, and thanks for carrying the box and making a little bit of money for him. And it's a book that for a couple of years I've wanted, and now I have it. It is Archie Pals and Gals number 23, first appearance of Josie McCoy from Josie and the Pussycats. This is really, really cool, especially considering I just got a really nice Josie McCoy headshot from Dan Parent at last year's Phoenix Fan Fusion. These were not purchased, but trades that I did with Toby Gray. He had picked up some of this stuff on Saturday, and he told me about it. I was just like, are you going to sell those to me? And he's like, I guess. He knows I'm always looking out for like modern horror stuff. Jason, Freddy, Chucky, Leatherface. So I got a couple of pieces. Friday the 13th. This is Fear Book issue 1. This is Bloodbath issue 3. And Friday the 13th special issue number 1. And he picked out a book from my box. There's still some more for him to pick up at a later time. This was the first purchase I made. Saw it on Saturday, was quoted a price, didn't bite on it at that time, went back, uncovered everything at my table Sunday morning, went back over, they still had it, and they honored the price that they quoted me the day before. This SH Figure Arts Nami from One Piece, which I'm not a big fan of the One Piece show, but like I got a thing for redheads, so and then to go along, not to go along with that, but a few months back I picked up an art piece that was done by Dan Reba, who drew Santo and Blue Demon fighting off a bunch of monsters, and I've been wanting to get that framed and then put it together with a Santo and a Blue Demon figure. And I picked up Blue Demon. The vendor, the creator, did not have a Santo in this size, but I did message him just now to say, hey, once you get settled back in and you get a Santo in stock, please let me know or arrange how you can ship. Then I picked up some AEW wrestling figures. One of these I've wanted for a bit. The other recently wanted. This one is a duplicate. I didn't realize I already had it, but that's perfect because then I can open it and put it on the wall. This is the Walmart exclusive CM Punk. Comes with the microphone and the AEW jacket, and it's perfect. I'd really like to get his Ring of Honor version so that he can face off against the man, Samoa Joe. Joe is my I think he's my number 5 on my grandfather's mountain, sometimes known as 6 grandfathers, known as Mount Rushmore. But now that I know it's not Mount Rushmore, yeah, we'll be calling it the 6 grandfathers. And then this is one that I wanted maybe like the last week or so. As you see, I'm wearing my Daniel Warren Johnson art of Brody King wearing his Abolish ICE t-shirt, and I was able to find a Brody King. The vendor had a second Brody King, which I went back to pick up because I wanted to do like the shirt or sculpt a shirt on him or paint it on him, but he sold that like right afterwards. So I'll work on something cloth-wise to see if I can get it to fit him. But overall, I'm really, really happy with sales. Just about tripled my table cost. Didn't spend too much money on stuff. Spent under $100 on things, especially with the trades and things like that. And Richard hooking me up with the first Josie McCoy. But just knowing that my work alone made more than table is awesome. And then selling some other stuff to kind of boost that and help get people in. My kaiju prints, people really, really like those. Sold a couple of pieces of original art, which I'm never going to be upset about. But yeah, so overall, Tucson Toy Show, the main March show, went really well for me. Definitely thinking about doing it again in November. So the plan was for November to team up with some friends who buy a number of tables and then just add in with them so we're all together. And then another friend, Toby, when I told him that plan, he was just like, but even though you were in the back, you had this separation of space. Like maybe it wasn't great for regular foot traffic, but the people who stopped to look at your art had the space to stop and look at your artwork, which I believe helped translate into sales now that I think about it. And also, he said, when you're in the middle of the rows and stuff, that they do tend to get more congested. So people are just trying to like push through until they see something that catches their eye. But my backdrop is higher and it's got the pieces of artwork on it that will really catch the eye. So that's a really, really interesting point that I hadn't thought about, and maybe something to keep in consideration for the future. There was one funny anecdote that happened with some horror podcasters, people who cover horror. They came to the table next to mine that had some like mass produced like resale items, not drop shipped, but just, like garments and things like that you can order and buy from multiple shops and stuff. And I recognized who they were, but they didn't talk to me. They just talked to this other vendor, and then they took off, and then they came back and then talked to the vendor again, and they bought some stuff. And it just struck me as a little odd, like it's just kind of take your pick kind of thing, where they were looking at somebody's table who has like mass produced items of horror stuff, and then I have horror comic books and horror original art and stickers and prints and things like that, all stuff that I did, right? It's not mass produced. In fact, it's very, very small print runs and things like that. And it just, it didn't appeal to them for whatever reason. I didn't do the hard sell of like, hey, you want to check out horror stuff that I did, come over here. I'm still working on how to do that without A, sounding like an asshole, and B, sounding like I'm begging for hits. But you have to learn that delicate medium, delicate balance, as it were. Anyways, guys, just a quick video to let you know how things went. Tucson Toy Show, success. I definitely plan to do it again in November, and hopefully for continued success. Chapter 2 of Pleasant Falls will be out by then. Never know, maybe even chapter 3 will be done by then. I'm not going to say no, but I'm not going to say it absolutely will. Um, but if you didn't get a chance to stop by, what I'm going to ask you to do is check out the Florence Project. It's going to be in the description below. That's who's going to be benefiting from these anti-ice prints, the Gamera versus Ice and the Erica Slaughter Monster Hunter prints. They are $30 a piece. They are Giclée prints. They are really, really nice quality, a very nice matte finish that really helps preserve the watercolor look of the originals. $20 from each of those prints goes to the Florence Project. So if I sell out of all of those prints, it's going to be a nice donation that goes there. So definitely check out the Florence Project below. I'm still considering how I'm going to do like my work in the future. Like, am I going to keep it on the Etsy? Because there's a host of problems there. Maybe my comics and my prints will go on Etsy, since it's a little easier to sell them that way, and then figure out something else for my original art, since it doesn't tend to sell a whole lot on Etsy, but we'll see. Anyways, I'll put my Etsy and my not my Etsy and my Insta, but my Etsy and my eBay in the description. And if you're looking for a commission, I am wide open for that. So I'd love to draw something for you or get you an original piece that already exists. Thank you guys for your subscriptions, your likes, your interactions. It does make a difference. It makes me feel better that what I'm doing is good. I'm going to keep doing it anyways, but it kind of gives that reassurance and that positive boost. So you guys take care of yourselves, and until next time.